Hi guys, welcome back to my studio. I am Megan. I'm going to continue with an experiment today that I did last week, that kind of an accidental experiment that I called a Tilted Twisted Swirl. And I called it that because it kind of made different patterns in the paint. I have a canvas here that I have angled on an index card file box from the corner, not from the side. So it's not like a slide down, it's right on the corner. So we're creating, basically the angle is right here. So as I was trying to stretch my swirl, because I didn't want it to be this super thin swirl, I tilted this way for a bit and then I tilted this way for a bit. And in doing that, the pattern changed a little bit and created this kind of almost neat braid look. The problem that I had with it was that I really didn't have my paint mixed for a swirl, because when I was mixing my paints, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And I like my swirl paints a little bit thicker. So I've used one of my favorite paints for swirls. I have two paints that I really, really love to do swirls with. The first one is Nova Color. Nova Color is an American paint company based out of California. They only ship to the United States, but they have, it's a very heavy body paint, and I like starting with a thicker paint when I'm doing a swirl. The other paint I love to do swirls with is Creative Inspirations. Creative Inspirations, I'm going to double check and put it in the description bar. I believe it's Jerry's Artorama is where you can find it. I think Amazon has some. So if Amazon has some also, I will post it. But theirs is also very thick. It's a great, holds up to a swirl, holds the swirl pattern very, very well. And Creative Inspirations actually has one of my absolute favorite colors ever, and I don't have any right now, and it is their Pearlescent. It's an opaque white pearl color. It's really, really gorgeous. So the colors I have mixed today are all Nova Color except one, and I've used Master's Touch because I really liked the color combination, so I went ahead and used another paint. So I have my Naples Yellow in Master's Touch. I have Nova Color in Cadmium Yellow Light, and it is an opaque yellow, and that is really, really important if you're wanting no mixture of your colors, to have an opaque paint that's not going to mix at all with your other colors. And yellow is kind of one of those harder ones to find an opaque color. But if you have a transparent yellow, you can always add, if you don't mind changing the color a little bit, you can always add a little titanium white to it, and that'll make it more opaque for you. And then I have this Emerald Pearlescent, and this is opaque also from Nova Color. And this one is Cerulean Blue Hue, and that is also an opaque color from Nova Color paints. Nova Color also does have some great pouring medium options at a pretty good price. So if you're in the United States, check them out. They don't offer like free shipping after a certain amount, but their paints are really affordable and really great quality. They are thicker though, so if you do more pours where you like your paint thinner with more cells and such, these definitely can do that. I've done some gorgeous paintings, but you will have to add more water and more of whatever pouring medium you use to get them to the right consistency. Okay, so let's start. I'm probably going to need 2 cups for this. I'm going to get my canvas out of the way for just a second, because that size canvas will take about 10 ounces of paint to completely cover. And so these are 5 ounce. Are these 5 or 4? I think these are 5 ounce cups. So I'm probably going to need 2 for the swirls, and then whatever I have left over I can fill in the edges if I need, because I'm going to be very careful tilting to worry about my pattern. And so if I have some edges that need covered afterwards, I can do that with a single color. So I'm thinking I'm going to do, because let me show you. Usually when you do a swirl, you pour it in the middle. Now traveling swirls are a little bit different, but when you have a swirl, your first in that you pour in is the last one out, and that's going to be the color that ends up in the center. Of course, tilting changes that a little bit too, but that's going to be your center color, and the last paint you pour in here is going to be on the outside as it spreads. So the way I did this and tilted, there's not really a center. to the swirl. So I'm not sure if it's going to be beneficial to have like an order of colors or not. So I might do sort of an order. I think I'm going to start with my yellow and peach and then move to the blues. But I'm not going to be super concerned like I would be if I really wanted that design where I had like from inside to outside. There's some really beautiful patterns that you can do where you have like yellow on the outside and it goes to purple or whatever colors or like a rainbow. I've done some rainbow swirls. But I'm not going to worry that too much. Once I understand how this makes the pattern, then I can move on to order of colors. I'm not quite there yet with it. So let's start with the yellow. And I just went ahead and mixed this in the cup. This is not straight paint. This actually has some Liquitex pouring medium, some Elmer's glue all, and some water. No silicone. I don't like to use silicone in my swirls because I don't like cells. If you want cells in your swirls, that's absolutely fine. You're going to want it a little bit thinner than I have it. I'm not sure I love those colors side by side now that they're in the cup. That's all right. Let's do some yellow. But, you know, that's absolutely fine. If that's your preference, then definitely mix your paint a little bit thinner and add some silicone. I just really like to see that swirl pattern. I'm not loving that peach with that yellow. I liked it together, but when they're side by side, I'm not loving it. So I'm not going to do any, you know, specific try-and color order pattern, if that makes sense. I'm just going to focus on layering these in a pretty way to hopefully get some nice rings. And these might even be a little bit thicker than what I would normally do for a swirl, but I'm okay with that because I do have that Liquitex pouring medium in there, so I'm not going to worry about cracking or crazing with this. As long as it pours nicely on the canvas, that's all I'm worried about. I think this would benefit from a pink. Do I have any sitting here that's thicker? I'm gonna kick myself though. I know. I don't think this has silicone. The way it's looking in the cup, I'm not thinking this has silicone. So I'm gonna add a little bit because I think it really needs it. I'm not gonna add a lot. I'll probably add some here or there. I think it just needs a little livening up with one more color. I love this pearl emerald. I've had it sitting on my shelf for so long and I haven't used it a lot, partially because I only bought 4 ounces of it. And I don't know, do you have any colors that you have sitting on your shelf and they're sitting there and you're thinking, gosh, I really love that and I want to use it, but I don't want it to be gone, kind of thing? Okay, so I'm going to go into my next cup. So that's probably, if these are 5-ounce cups, it's probably closer to 4. So I'm going to call that one good. Because like I said, I'm expecting to need to do the sides just because of the way this is tilted. Ooh, look, blue and yellow. Do we have any Michiganders watching? I'm originally from Ohio, so that color combination it makes me want to yellow OHIO. If you're from Ohio, if you're from neither of those states and you're not into college football, that probably doesn't make any sense to you. I'm actually not into college football myself, but I come from an area that very much is, so I'm well aware of the Michigan versus Ohio rivalry. I'm in Oklahoma now, so I'm far away from both of those places. But go ahead, root for your team in the comments, especially if you're from Ohio. Just kidding. We do not discriminate against any sports team fans. Oh, that's going to be a thicker See, I don't do swirls as much as I used to. I used to do swirls so much, and then I got away from it because that seemed like that was all I was doing. And it's a little bit like riding a bicycle, and yet a little bit not, because sometimes it does come to like, okay. Because all of the different pouring styles have, you know, different thicknesses that I like, or different, you know, patterns I like. So, okay, so I have enough blue to add some to the edges. I have just a tiny bit of this purple. Let's just put it in here. Which one in here? Let's just use the rest of that. Okay. I'm almost positive there's no silicone. There is nothing happening in these cups, so I think I'm safe there. I have a little bit of this, so what I might do is use that blue and the green and kind of swirl it together. We'll see. I think I have plenty of yellow and Naples yellow also. Okay, so enough of that. We have our cup ready. Let me get this canvas back. The right angle to see. Let's not knock my paint over. That would be very bad. Okay, so let's start with this one. Not that it really matters. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, try and get some of this paint off of here. I'm gonna start pouring and then tilting my canvas a couple different ways. Try and be as coordinated at this as I can possibly be as a person who's not incredibly coordinated. So let's go this way for a while. This way. I'm getting jagged or more jagged edges than I was hoping for. And I think my thinner paint did a little bit better at this than this is doing, which is okay. I'm going to continue to stretch it, and I'm going to go in with my next, which is probably, yeah, it's going to go right on top. I didn't think about that. Using 2 cups with a swirl. I'm speeding it up. Oh, that's really pretty. That is really pretty. Because I'm trying to get my swirl. Okay, okay, this is gonna get a little bit crazy here, but that's okay, because I'm looking at the pattern rather than my plan, if that makes sense too. I want to get a pretty pattern on the canvas, and then I'll worry about what I'm going to do with the edges and where my paint is going. Because I can worry about the edges and do something fun with those if I have a really pretty pattern on the canvas. And you can tell my yellow kind of disappeared. That Naples yellow, I think, is a little bit transparent because it is mixing with that emerald green a little bit. This is really, really pretty, guys. And you see how going back and forth, because sometimes when you do a swirl all one way and then you start tilting, you get kind of strange lines. But I think because we had different, look, I have a clump there. Let's get that out of there. Because we had strange lines to begin with, that moving it around in different directions isn't looking like we're ruining a pattern. It just looks like we're going with the pattern and stretching it. So that's a problem. I'm going to stop. That's a problem I've had with swirls that I love, love, love when I'm done pouring. And then I don't have any push pins in this because I didn't think about putting it down. But anyway, with swirls, let's turn this a little bit, that, let me see if I can find one, that I pour straight in the center and I love it. And then you tilt it to stretch it, and so you don't get any cracking. Do I have one sitting here? I don't think I do. And then you end up with a pattern that you're not as happy with. If that has happened to you, oh, here, I do have one. Okay, so this was a swirl, and I can't remember, I think this was in the center. But then I had to tilt and cover the canvas because obviously if you leave it, even if you love it and you're doing this, at some point you have to spread it out or you will get cracking and crazing. So by the time I did that, it was, and of course this one had silicone and it was obviously too thin for a swirl, but I lost that swirl pattern. Now I've had some, if you watch, I have a video, I'll link to it, called Perfecting the Swirl, where I show some of my, I think they're downstairs actually displayed, but I have some swirls I absolutely love. I'll link to those here, because they did keep the swirl pattern, and there is a way to do that. There really is. But this is really exciting. I am super in love with this. So let's worry about the edges now. I think I'm going to do this right here. I'm going to have to be really careful picking this up. I should have put pinch pins in it, and I didn't because it was leaning on that cardstock thing. Okay, this is gorgeous. This is going to be my new favorite technique for a while. It's just really, really pretty, isn't it? So if you want to do one of these, I would definitely recommend watching my video, Perfecting the Swirl, because it will have details on paint consistency and paint mixing. I think I show mixing the paint. I may not, I'm not sure. But anyway, it has all those details on there to show you how to make sure you retain the integrity of the lines, which is what definitely what we're looking for with this. I am super, super excited about this one, guys. I am just completely head over heels in love. This is my first painting of the day. I am so tempted just to call it a day and just leave, be like, okay, I had one really, really great pour. Time to walk away. But I probably won't. Okay, that my arm was in the way. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm not loving this blue by itself, probably because cerulean blue is not one of my absolute favorites. So I'm going to add some of the teal or the emerald and kind of swipe that a little bit. Oops, that's the pink. I do know my colors. Where did I put my teal down? Ah! Oh, here, I'm looking right at it. Oh dear. I'm super excited about this. Okay, so I'm gonna mix this a little bit. I don't want a harsh, weird line. Like, okay, there's a painting in the corner that doesn't go with the rest of the paintings. There we go. That's good. Just a matter of working it a little bit. And I think I'm going to go ahead and use, if I had enough purple, I'd do purple. Actually, let's give this a try, because that purple's on that edge there. So let's just continue that purple edge to make it look more organic, because that's a challenge, isn't it? When you're doing adding negative space after a pour, when you have some canvas left, is making sure you maintain the look of the flow of a pour, rather than there's a pour and then there's negative space. Sometimes that works really, really well. Other times you don't want that separation. And I really want the focus to be on this, not some harsh line at the edge where you can say, okay, that's where the painting stopped. I really don't want that. So I am going to be a little bit more organic in how I do this edge. I am loving this. Okay, and there we go. That is done. I'm going to have to carefully move this over to my drying area. Very, very carefully. Let me know what you think. And I will link my Facebook group and my Facebook page. Definitely share this technique if you've done it. And let me see what you guys are coming up with. I love to see what everybody else does with this. Let's do a few close-ups because this is just so pretty. And this is where I think those paints really, really shine, the thicker paints, because they really do. They do a really good job holding on to the integrity of those lines. Love, love, love. And just in case you didn't hear, or you weren't paying that much attention, and you want to know, that pouring medium mix was Elmer's Glue All and Liquitex pouring medium with a little bit of water just to get it to the right consistency. Check out that Perfecting the Swirl if you want to know how I did that. And if you have any questions, let me know, and happy pouring.